What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, I'm going to argue for Xbox's dominance in value proposition. A dominance that even some of my Xbox fans, I don't even think you believe in the ecosystem as much as even I do. And I'm the PC guy that's played mostly on PlayStation. Sorry to say, but maybe you're looking at it from a perspective that I'm not looking at it from. And maybe I am looking at it from a different perspective. But here's what I see. Now, I've been talking about Xbox and its Project Latitude strategy. Talked about how it's expedient in some cases because if a development team needs to be profitable and they don't want that development team to seem like they're being carried by others, they probably need their games to sell. And if Xbox players, who we know that their behavior is mostly playing the live service games just like PlayStation games, as PlayStation gamers, Call of Duty, Minecraft, and all the others, and that studio might need to move its game to another audience to give it a boost. Sea of Thieves has benefited from this. They took their game even 8 years later to the PlayStation and they sold 1 million copies. They pulled in another 1 million people into their ecosystem, and I'm sure they're pulling in more and will continue to pull in more. So what's happened is Sea of Thieves has now become a lifetime accessible brand across all platforms. Wonderful. This is good. You want the developers to still have money so that they can be building more games. And you as the Xbox player, you're the primary benefactor nonetheless. Now, I've said this, that these games will need to go to other platforms. And some people have said, well, questions like this have come up. Imagine being a kid and having money to buy only one console and one subscription. Would you buy PS5 and play in quote, let's put that all games in quote, or buy Xbox Series X and play some games? The answer is always PS5 because you want to play the games your school friends are playing. I have a Series X and want Microsoft's strategy to succeed, but I fear that Xbox console wouldn't exist more sooner than later. I actually work with school kids, and once in a while, I ask them what their thoughts are about different things. The gaming is not exclusive. Many of them play video games. I remember yesterday I was watching David Haffey's video. This is the creator of God of War. He was saying, Xbox needs to Microsoft needs to market Game Pass. Why is Game Pass not being advertised? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody really knows about Game Pass. So immediately right during a break, I asked my students, I said, how many of you know what Game Pass is? The whole class raised their hands up. I said, explain what Game Pass is to me. They all did. Oh, it's this service where you subscribe, you get a bunch of games. There are different versions of it, whatever it is. Yeah, someone like, I don't have it yet. I'm trying to get my parents to get it from me, blah, 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 blah. You'd be very surprised how, these young people are. Another thing you'd be surprised by is, since COVID, a lot of them have actually been put on Chromebooks. So their comfort level to computers is actually now much higher. They've been grinding on PCs, well, in many cases, either PCs or Chromebooks or some computing device for the last 4 years. Do you think right now, if you ask them what platform do you want to play on, do you think they're going to say a console? Believe you me, I've asked them. Many of them want to play and are now wanting to go to PC because they now know exactly what the value proposition is. In fact, ask anybody that teaches in public education in the United States right now. The biggest challenge we have is having to keep the kids focused and away from websites where they can play mini games on hand. So, do you really know the market as much as you think you do? Or do you see the trends as much as you think you do? Because from where I'm sitting, it's very interesting to see those trends. And I can tell you guys and girls, you'll be very shocked that the whole console paradigm is actually not something that is as strong as it was when we were kids. With this in mind, if I were to advise a kid on what console to buy and they walked up and said they only had money for one console, I'd tell them to buy a Series S. Why? I believe in that value proposition that Xbox has. The Series S is, in my opinion, the best value for this console generation of gaming. Now, ideally, I would tell them to buy a PC because I know they're going to get all the games, but I know a Series S cannot be matched. I can build you a PC better than a Series X, better than a PS5 for about $630, $650. But for a Series S and the access that it has, there's just no way. And the savings that they're going to attain with a Series S is magnanimous because at any rate, if the kid looks at a $70 game and says, Mom, can you please hook me up with this $70 game? And Mom says, nah, you need to go mow some lawns. And they look and say, okay, I'm going to mow a few neighbors' lawns. With the one lawn mowing, they can get Game Pass subscription and still have change on hand. This is where the value proposition is. You got to understand the kid's budget before you actually make a claim like that. Now, I'm not saying like I'm an expert, but again, I just happen to have the opportunity to know and to work with these demographics and the way they interact with many different areas in life. There are probably things I don't know, but when it comes to their gaming behaviors, Oh, you better be ready that I have heard the fullest of it in many cases, because I have to teach. I have to wade past how you beat this guy at Fortnite and how in Call of Duty you guys are not so good and blah, 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 for me to be able to quiet everybody down and teach. And so it's a very interesting dynamic at the end of the day. So for the Xbox fan, you really have to believe in the Xbox proposition even further than just the exclusive games. It's a very powerful proposition, very powerful ecosystem. Exclusives are not all that make Xbox. Xbox has divorced itself from that. Infrastructure, service, and options, and just some really cool, crazy stuff are very important, very pivotal to what Xbox can do. You see, if you even were to ask me and say, so what would even be the lowest point of entry? The Fire Stick is also another point. Now, yes, maybe you may like a physical console, but if that kid was maybe saying, I really like to, engage in some of these titles and so on and so forth, the Fire Stick provides a very cool option at the end of the day. Now, for a kid, you may say, well, maybe this might not be a good way to go, but the Fire Stick and the Xbox controller combo is not $299. They can pretty much connect that thing to their TV. They can get an Xbox Game Pass subscription. They can play games. And then if there are any games that they want to play permanently, believe you me, a lot of these kids, most of their permanent games are on Nintendo Switch, or possibly they can play on a gaming PC and still get the same thing. And they're very knowledgeable about where they can play these games. Don't get me wrong. It's not a matter of knowledge. I used to see when I made these videos saying, man, the PC platform really can provide a really cool stuff for people who want to get into gaming. A lot of people came out with this excuse that, a lot of kids' parents don't really know what's going on. Man, these kids know way more. I mean, this generation that's coming, they're about to surprise us millennials. Like, yo, I have so much hope in the future. And I'm not saying this in a tongue in cheek. I am actually optimistic about how capable they can be. And at their fingertips, we've given them a lot. I mean, they've been handed a lot. A lot of information is available to them. I think their decision making is going to be very well informed because they have the access to dial into information as best as they possibly can. So I would never tell them to buy a PS5. I'm not joking. Why? Why would they bother buying a PS5? They're going to be spending, more money. Their value proposition is less with PlayStation Plus. What? I'll tell them get an Xbox with Game Pass. Get a Series S, not even an Xbox. Get a Series S with Game Pass. You're a young kid. Save your money. Buy something that is affordable to you, which is probably going to be easy for your parents to be able to get into without any, any rigmarole. Yeah, I will tell you ideally, if you were one of the students that were taking maybe one of my technology classes, I'll tell you, hey, build a PC. Don't be asking your technology teacher if you should buy a console. What kind of nonsense is that? Yes, but any other student or any other kid, I'll say buy an Xbox. Why? Because the proposition is strong enough for me to basically go ahead and recommend it. Because those games that you're probably not going to play on the PS5 now, with Xbox's position and Xbox's game, dump capability on the market, you won't miss them. You'd have access to multiple games. I'm talking a heap of these titles coming your way. I mean, look at it. Has anybody actually paid attention to it from this proposition saying all games? Third-party games are still going to come to Xbox. In fact, they're no longer interested in doing exclusivity with PlayStation, which is what's now really cool. So the kid that has the money is going to be exposed to all these games and more. I mean, Pearl Abyss is just the second in the list. The first was Square Enix, who ran away like it was an abusive relationship. Pearl Abyss rejected the proposal because they knew that it was going to keep them and lock them in a strange position. More and more will follow. Don't worry about this all games. Why are people saying all games when we're seeing that these people are not even taking the exclusivity deals anymore? Come on, guys. Believe in the ecosystem that you've already invested in and see where it's going. Why am I gonna? Is it the PlayStation and PC guy is going to be the one making these videos? Come on now. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.